guys, and as usual, welcome to another kit review. So today, as you can see, we're having a look at one of these. This is the Sd.Kfz 7.2 from Tamiya, 1/35th scale. This is the one that's mounting the 3.7cm Flak 37. As you can see, it's based on Tamiya's 8-ton semi-track, which is exactly what the Germans did during World War II. Around 1,000 of these units were made. Round about 700 odd actually had the Armoured Cab. Before that, they just had standard 8-ton half-track, and the only armour was provided by the gun itself. Later in the war, instead of a mesh side, some of these had wood sides or even a steel-plated side. So this kit is kit number 35144. It cost me around $40 Australian. It's one of those kits that turns up every now and then. Originally, this kit came out in 1989. So the original Tamiya 8-ton half-track came out in 1972 as a motorised version to tow their 88mm gun. It has been reissued a couple of times since then. 1984 it was still motorised. 1990 came out just as the 8-ton. The more popular kit that you can find based on the 8-ton is the Flak Vierling. That one's quite common and is still available today. That one came out in 1991, so about 2 years after this one issued. So this is one of those kits that turns up every now and then, but it is quite rare, and as soon as I saw this one, I had to have it. So it is second-hand, so you know, some of the sprues have been opened, looked at and stuff like that, but nothing's been touched. All right, so as you can see, box art, standard Tamiya white, does display the 7.2 very nicely in a overall dark yellow with green and brown stripes. That's a really nice camouflage scheme. On the sides, usual Tamiya 4 views of the vehicle. On the other side, you've got, this is the Flak Vierling. This is the standard 8-ton. Now, unusually, the Flak Vierling is supposed to come out in 1991. This particular kit came out in 89, so I suspect scalemates might be wrong about the issue date for the Flak Vierling. So that is the box, fairly straightforward. So let's have a look inside. So most of this hasn't been touched. A bit of it's been looked at. You've got one bag of sprues with the main flooring, the sides, etc. This one has your mesh in it, plus the 3.7cm gun. This is, of course, as you can see, the cab, seats, etc. The wheels plus polycaps, because remember this was originally back in 72 motorized, and yes, I do actually have one of those. If I can get it going, I might show you that to you in another video. This is your basic chassis, your tracks, of course, really nice and flexible, and the previous owner has put these instructions into plastic sleeve, which I do enjoy. And as you can see, you have a separate painting guide and instructions. And of course, you've got your vinyl tires and axles, because yes, this was an actual running model. Right, so that is the kit, and a little loose bit. Yep, that is just an ammo can. I'll try not to lose that. Right, so that's what's in the box. In a second, we'll have a look at the instructions and carry on from there. So let's have a look at the instructions. On the front, you'll see a photo of the actual kit assembled, and it does have a brief history of the half-track in English, German, French, and Japanese. Overleaf is the usual recommended tools, warnings. This is your color call outs. As you can see, they're all Tamiya colors. So at this stage, late 80s, Tamiya has introduced its range of colors and paint sprays and etc, etc. And we start off with, of course, front wheels, suspension units going on the whole chassis unit. This is your accessories, kind of where the engine goes, spare wheel, etc. Then it is just assembling the bottom part, chassis, exhaust pipes, steering, although it doesn't steer of course, but this is your entire steering assembly, and your tires. Then you've just got the road wheels going together for the track section. They're all going on. Then you've got your cab. So it does have color callouts all the way through. They're all Tamiya colors, so naturally enough you use your preferred supplier. Then you've just got the cab section going on to the main floor pan. Fairly straightforward. This is a Tamiya kit, and it is an older Tamiya kit, so the detail level is not Yeehaw photo etch, but it will build to a really nice looking kit, and quite easily too. These are your side panels for the back, which have the mesh included. Side panels go on. As you can see, floor pan, front, all these sections go onto the main chassis. It does show you how to put the tracks together. And then you come to the Armoured Cab section, and that is fairly straightforward as well. So you may want to paint inside here first, and also the inside of the armoured section. Get that all done, and then carry on from there, because once this is on, it will be quite difficult to paint your interior section, weather them and whatever else you want to do with it. Doors are going on, so you can have the doors open. You do have that option, which is a really nice option, because if you've got a crew hanging around, which is one thing this doesn't have, it does not have a flat crew, but even if you have just a driver figure or something, you can pop them in there, add a bit more scope to the kit. As you can see, we're now on to putting together the 3.7 centimeter, and this is your normal 3.7 that you can buy separately. That also doesn't have a crew, unfortunately. So this is all the Germans did anyway. They mounted the flak furling, they mounted the 3.7 on the back of trucks, half tracks, you name it. They mounted them on there. They needed air defense for their armored divisions and just for their general operational areas. Fairly straightforward putting the gun together. There is a bit of painting to do, but most of that painting can be done after you've assembled it. It is quite a nicely detailed gun. So that's step 19, overleaf. Step 20 is finishing off the gun with the gun shields, the standing platforms. Okay, the mount, that's an optional high mount, low mount, whatever. And then you just mount the gun onto the back of the half track. So step 21, it is a Tamiya kit, as I said, so it should be fairly straightforward build. So that's the main instructions. And then you've got this, which is your painting guide. So overall, it is just dark yellow. These were built in, they started building these in 1942. Most of the ones they built in 42 didn't have the armoured front. But after that, around 700 odd of these were built right up until the end almost, and they had the armoured front. So overall dark yellow, and any kind of camouflage scheme you want, including if you want to whitewash them and make them into a winter setting. Alright, so that's the painting instructions. Let's have a look at, so these are your markings that you get. Fairly straightforward. Alright, divisional and operational markings. There are some kill marks for the gun if you want. You have a Wehrmacht and also a Luftwaffe unit, and that's fairly straightforward and simple. That's the only markings, no crosses or anything like this, so I'm not sure if there's any aftermarkets, but you could have a look and see if you wanted to change up the decal situation. You could have a look and see if there's any aftermarkets to suit. All right, so I'll give you a close-up shot of that one. And now we'll carry on and have a look at the sprues. So before we start on the sprues proper, let's have a look at the bits and pieces you get with this kit. So you have these are the polycaps for the road wheels, etc., to make sure that the wheels will go around, because remember, this was a motorized kit. You have your vinyl tires. So there is a mold line down the middle, but you should be able to sand that off without too much drama. As you can see, they are quite plain on the sides. No names or anything like this on these tires, but they are quite nice. I do like those tires. You have your vinyl tracks, very flexible, really nicely done. So standard Tamiya, quite easily put together. You have axles, because this was a motorized kit. It goes between the front road wheels, front and back. Make sure it goes around. And of course you do have your mesh for the side panels and the back panel of the half track. You can get aftermarket PE for this. I have seen it, but depends on how much you want to spend on this kit. So let's have a look at the sprues proper. So first up, we'll have a look at the actual chassis. As you can see, it is one solid piece. Remember, this was a motorized kit, so it had to be solid. There is some nice detail on the bottom. The bolts are not standard, hexagonal bolt detail, because it is an older kit. They're quite round, but you won't see these anyway. Still, at least they've made the effort of putting them there. There are some minor bolts on the front, quite low detail, but as I said, it is an old kit, but it is remarkably no flash, no major mold damage or anything like this. Bit of cleanup where it's been attached to the main sprue, but apart from that, this is really nice. 1989 kit, remember? So next up, let's have a look at this sprue. Now there is only, including the gun, there is only 4 sprues plus the chassis in this kit. Fairly straightforward. As you can see, what we've got here is your road wheels, drive sprocket, front wheels, etc. for the half track. Let's have a look, see. There is the copyright for this sprue, 1972. So don't expect miracles as far as detail is concerned and bolts, etc. But it is still a Tamiya kit, and it will still go together after all this time. So this is 1989 issue. That makes it 34 years old. as it stands. And this sprue came out in 1972. So let's have a look. So although the detail isn't yeehaw fantastic 2023 molding, and yes, the bolts on the wheels aren't sharp and crisp and six-sided or whatever they have to be, there is still that detail there, and it still will come out quite nicely with a nice wash or however else you want to detail this. So I do like that. There's no flash on these. A little bit of cleanup around the mold line on the drive sprocket and the cogs, which probably look a bit round, but never having seen a real half track, I couldn't tell you whether that's accurate or not. Otherwise, really nicely done. So yes, there is a little bit of cleanup around the edges, around the mold lines, but nothing major. So that is the wheels. So the next sprue we're going to have a look at is this one. So as you can see, it's quite a big sprue. There's a lot on it. This, of course, is your front cabin with the seats, suspension for your half-track sections, front steering, bonnet and sides, steering wheel, instrument panel, exhaust pipe. So let's have a look-see. So the exhaust pipe, it would be recommended to drill out the end of the exhaust pipe. That's your main cab section with the battery. So there's a fair bit of detailing. Your seats, they're quite smooth. They don't have any texturing. So if you're going to texture that up, you'd have to do it with paint. Of course, that is your radiator. There is no engine, so there's no reason why you should be able to see right through that. But overall, I can't see any major flash. There is your instrument panel for the cab. That will have to be painted up. Fuel tanks, steering wheel and levers, etc. Steering gear. There is your front steering section for the front wheels and your suspension for the half track section with some really nice detail for the leaf springs. These are your parts of your suspension, etc. for the wheels, road wheels, etc. So overall, there's no flash, really nicely done and very crisp for its age. Will come up nicely. Anyone who's built one of the 8-ton half tracks from Tamiya will know exactly what you're getting into when you get this kit. And the next sprue we're going to have a look at is this one. So as you can see, this is the main floor pan and the armoured cab. These are your drop down sides, and this is the back drop down side where the mesh goes in. These are your armoured doors. You do have some ammo containers and some ready to go ammo for accessories, but of course you can always add quite a lot more accessories onto the back of this thing to dress it up. So let's have a look. So this is the armoured cab, and the bolts are quite rounded off, but they will still come up quite nicely. I can't see any major flash or anything. Usual cleanup around the mold lines, but that's nothing. Really nice checker plate texture on the main floor pan. These are your ammo containers. You do have some bits and pieces, tools, etc., which go onto the back. Those are ready ammunition for the gun. Gun shields. These are your doors. So really nicely done. Not much flash. Let's have a look at the other side. So that's the interior of the Armoured Cab section. So there are one or two depressions in the plastic which you might want to have a look at, but you probably won't notice them because they're on the roof. But you would probably want to detail that up a little bit better. The seats and things will cover that, but if you're going to have the doors open, you might want to add just a little bit more detail to the interior, just to flesh it out a little bit. But apart from that, I do like that. As I said, this is a Tamiya kit. It's an older kit, but really nicely detailed. And the last brew is this one. This, of course, is your 3.7cm gun. So, base of the gun, the sides, the actual gun itself, some more ready ammunition, and all the fittings and levers, gun shields, etc. So really nicely done. Again, no flash on this. I do like that. Not sure if you can actually get aftermarket fittings for the 3.7. Probably be worth having a look and see what you can get if you want to detail this up a little bit more. But overall, this will come out to be a really nice looking kit. There's a little bit of cleanup along the mold lines, but nothing major. Let's have a look on the other side of the gun. That's fine. I do like that. Just need to see, that's the end of the gun. They've made that separately so it's hollow, so you don't even have to drill that out. Just fit it on there and make sure it is nice and straight. Alright, so that's the last brew for this kit. So there you have it, guys. That is Tamiya's German 8-ton semi-track 3.7cm Flak 37 Sd.Kfz 7.2. Came out in 1989. Cost me around $40 Australian. Kit number is 35144. It does turn up every now and then. I have seen these go for anywhere up to $80+ Australian, so I'm really happy I picked it up so cheaply. Definitely one, if you can see it out there, the Dragon kit, which is exactly the same as this one, is quite expensive, at least here in Australia. So worthwhile keeping an eye out for this. I've seen these come up about once every 6 to 8 months in Australia, despite their age. All right, so that brings us to the end of another review. As usual, guys, thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, your comments. They are always appreciated. And also, as usual, until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will see you later.